Heads of South Korea's diplomatic missions abroad were invited to the presidential office on Monday, and the gathering was more than just about giving due encouragement and thanks for representing the country. Our Hwang Hojun has more on the highlights from that event.
President Moon emphasized that since the start of his administration, he has put the most emphasis on diplomacy when conducting state affairs, underlining the fact that he has visited 7 countries and has spent about 1 of his 7 months in office abroad.
한반도와 동북아의 긴장이 과거 어느 때보다 고조된 상황에서 외교 공백을 채우고 무너지거나 헝클어진 외교 관계를 복원하는 것이 무엇보다 시급한 과제였기 때문입니다.
President Moon's remarks were delivered during a special event to which he invited about 180 heads of diplomatic missions abroad and dozens of cabinet members and foreign ministry officials to the Blue House for dinner. During his speech, President Moon stressed that the most critical values that he hopes to apply to Seoul's diplomacy are the national interest and the people.
국익의 기준은 오로지 국민입니다. 국익 중심의 외교는 곧 국민 중심 외교입니다.
And for that to happen, he said it's not only necessary to expand Korea's diplomatic horizons, but also to put great value on pragmatic and balanced diplomacy by diversifying Seoul's diplomatic sphere while respecting the traditional diplomacy with allies. The South Korean president also called for efforts to speed up the process of linking South Korea's New Northern and New Southern policies to China's One Belt, One Road initiative, which he had stressed during his state visit to China last week. The New Northern and New Southern policies are to expand South Korea's diplomatic horizon with Eurasian and Southeast Asian nations, while the One Belt, One Road initiative is President Xi's strategy to build the world's largest economic cooperation platform by connecting China to Central, West, and parts of South Asia. President Moon pledged that he and his government will support the ambassadors and consulates abroad, who he said are not so different from the national team of athletes who will be competing in Pyeongchang as they too are representing Korea. However, the South Korean president also stressed that it would take more than just money and power for them to win the hearts of the countries they're deployed to, and said it all comes down to being genuine. Hwang Hojun, Arirang News.